Alright, here's a lesson on the Aeolian mode. We're going to be using Am7 and D7. Now we're going to be using what we know of as the fifth position of the major scale. So I showed them all in another lesson in G. You know, they kind of start like this. This one's going to be like the fifth position. We're going to put it down here on A. So that happens to be all the natural notes: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. One thing that's important is to look at the arpeggios of each chord. So this is the arpeggio for the A minor 7. See, it's almost a minor pentatonic scale. But it doesn't have these D's in it because D is not in that chord. So these are only chord tones is what an arpeggio is. Now let's look at the D minor 7 arpeggio. 5, 8, 7, 5, 7, 6, 5, 8. So okay, so as we're playing those chords, one of the main things is you could be playing any of the notes of the scale, but when you come to this chord, there's an F in that chord. That F is not in the other chord, so it's kind of a standout chord tone for this second chord. That's what you're looking for to play over changes is, what is a special note of maybe the second chord that's not in the first chord, because that's probably going to be one that I'm really going to play off when that second chord hits, because it's going to bring out the sound of that scale or that chord. So if we might be using, you could even break these things down to like pentatonic scale, but then when that D minor 7 chord hits, see how powerful that is when you can use that note against that chord. So I'm going to play some little backing chords for you and try to play notes from this scale. But remember, when I do the D minor 7 chord, if you can play an F, which is here, it's also here on the 8th fret, 5th string. If you can play a riff, even like something like that uses that note with other notes, that's going to bring out the sound of that chord a lot. So here we go. 2, 3, 4. Here goes D minor 7. Here's a lesson on how to play The Thrill Is Gone and using the Aeolian mode and using all three of the main types of arpeggios: minor 7, major 7, and dominant 7. The chords we're going to use for this: G minor or G minor 7 to C minor or C minor 7. Then we're going to use E flat major 7, 7, 6, 3, 3, 3. You could also play that like this. We're going to play that to the D7, which you could also play like that. So G minor or G minor 7, C minor, C minor 7, E flat major 7, D dominant 7. Okay, so let's look at the arpeggios real quick. I did an arpeggio lesson recently, so you can check that out too. But here is the G minor 7 arpeggio. Here's the C minor 7 arpeggio. Here's the E flat major 7. Here's the D dominant 7. Or you could go. Sometimes it's helpful to be able to keep things where you can do all the changes, arpeggios, within one position, but it doesn't hurt too much to jump out to a different one if you kind of see that laid out in a way that you like better, or that has access to higher notes. Okay, so I'm going to get this progression going. One more thing is the Aeolian Mode, the scale we're going to use, where you could basically play any of the notes of this scale over all these chords, and they're all going to sound pretty good. But when you know the arpeggios, you can play to those chord changes more exactly and get the notes that you would want to land on, as opposed to just kind of guessing and not being sure what you're going to land on. So here's those notes: 3 5 6 3 5 6 3 5 2 3 5 3 4 6 3 5 6. Let's get into that chord progression. Here we go. I'm getting a little loop going here. So 4 bars of that G minor down to C minor, 2 bars of that, and then back, and then E flat major 7, D7, G minor, and then I like to do those last 2 chords as a little tag there. So that's kind of G minor pentatonic. I could be playing notes of the scale, but I'm going to avoid this one until, see, that's in that C minor chord. So it's nice to wait and play that on that, and then maybe you avoid. Now I'm going to go to this. Then you get a little harmonic minor happens at the end there when you have that D7 into it. There goes G minor. See, playing off that note brings out that chord. Then it kind of goes away back to this note of that chord. Okay, so one thing that happens here is we have this main scale that we're using. So there would be the arpeggio kind of thinking. Now that note from that D7, that makes it like a harmonic minor scale for a minute, because normally we would have that note, you know, we got this scale going like up here, but when we put that note in there, we've modulated slightly, so it's cool to really bring out something on that note. Okay, back to C minor. So that was a note, I just put a little flat 5th note in there. Say I was kind of thinking I was in C minor pentatonic with a little flat 5th in there, kind of. That little note, that F sharp, there's that F sharp, that note that modulates, getting that little bluesy thing where you get that little, that half step in there can be cool too. I like to do that a lot. Now we could look at some higher positions up here. Here goes the G minor 7 arpeggio. I'm going to C minor 7. And don't always start low, you know. Start in the middle, start up high sometimes. Here goes the top of this. Here's the D7, that was the E minor, E flat major 7 before that. Now I can think of the scale notes. Going down to the 8th fret put me easily into that C minor 7 place, right? E flat major 7, D7 to G. Third fret. fifth every now and again. Okay, now you try it. So it's G minor 7, and you can be playing the whole scale, and you can, now you might think about this and that little shape of that C there next to the shape of the G. Then you got your E flat major 7, D7. You can also just go up those little notes one at a time. That's arpeggiating a chord too. There goes the 1 again, G minor. You got little positions, like think about your G minor pentatonic stuff. There's your C, your 4 note. There's the 1. Now think about down here. Here goes that E flat to D. G minor again. Think about it up here in this spot, 10th fret. Alright, so that last lesson I did on Thrill Is Gone, I did a lot of explaining on how to do the playing and stuff, but I didn't do a lot of playing chords in the background for you to play over. 3, 4. Got 4 bars of that G minor. C minor. E flat major 7, D7, back to G minor. I like to do this little turn here where I go back to those chords. Now this time we're going to have a different ending. And I believe this is more like the B.B. King version. So we got the same chords getting it going. Now for this E flat, I'm going to do a dominant 7 down to D7. Then I'm not going to do that turnaround. There we go, starting again. So that would be more like the original kind of version, or the B.B. King version. E flat, dominant 7. Dominant 7, and G minor the rest of the way through. Okay, last time through I'm going to show you a cool little jazzy chord trick on the C minor chord. go back to E flat major 7, D7, do that turnaround. Sometimes that little G minor 9 sounds nice to finish off a song like that in that key, or anything with that minor kind of feel. So that little trick I did. So that's a C minor to a C minor major 7, which is like 3, 5, 4, 4, to a C minor 7, 3, 5, 3, 4, to minor 6, which would have. So each note kind of goes down on that one string. You got your C minor major 7 with the B in it. You got the B flat, the C minor 7. You got the A and the C minor 6. Okay, the other key would be B flat. So I think this is probably the B.B. King version. So we're gonna do the same thing. We got our B flat minor 7 arpeggio. We got our E flat minor 7 arpeggio. We have our G flat major 7 and our F dominant 7. And of course, like I said, you can make those that 6 to 5 chord. You can make those both 7s if you wanted. And think about the dominant 7. And then on this version, it doesn't have those turnaround chords at the end either. So here we go, B flat, 2, 3, eh. First chord again. No turnaround. Another good thing to try is all pentatonic minor. See if you can play over all those changes with just pentatonic minor and try to make it sound good. We'll do the dominant 7s this time. Time through. Dominant. Turn around, dominance. And on that minor 9 there. Alright, I hope that helped out. Hey y'all, here's a lesson in improvising in the Aeolian mode. This is the natural minor mode. We're going to do it in D minor. Let's look at the basic scale starting on that string in D minor. Now we can add these notes down here if we want. And that is what's known as the third position of the major scales. If you need to know more about major scales, I've got a video on that. Check it out. I'll put a link up here. But this is the third position of the major scales. This is the D. That's our root, basically. This is kind of the starting point of this progression in this key, this tonal center. So what we've got here is 5, 7, 8 on the A string, 5, 7, 8 on the D, 5, 7, 5, 6, 8, 5, 6, 8. And then 8, 6, 5 on that bottom string, if you want to add some notes to that. Now, so that is what's known as the third position of the major scale. So if we come back here to this lower one, we're also going to need to work out of this area. This is the second position of major scales. That's actually the Dorian mode of the second scale. We're in the key of F. When we're in this D minor tonal center, this is the sixth chord of that key. So what we're going to be doing is a 6 to 2 chord progression in the key of F. Now, since it's in D minor, you could look at it as a 1-4, a minor 1-4. This G being the 4 of D. So I like to look at it as a minor 1-4 in D. That helps me keep my tonal center in my head and everything. Okay, so let's look at the scale down here again. 3, 5, 6, 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 3, 5, 6, 3, 5, 6. So we've got those two positions to work with. So let's get right into it. I'll play you those chords. I'm going to play you a D minor 7 and a G minor 7. And you're going to use any of the notes of these two scales and improvise a little bit over those two chords and see how it goes. And then we'll worry about arpeggios and things like that right after this, okay? 3, 4. Here goes G minor. Okay, so I'm going to solo a little bit just using that scale. Now I hit a G there because it's on the G chord at that point. So think about where these notes are. Here's a D. There's a G right there. It's going to match your G chord. There's a G. That's part of a G minor arpeggio there. It's part of the D minor arpeggio. So arpeggios are real important to get close to the chord notes, finding the chord tones over these different changes. But you can also just jam through the scale and use your ear. That note sounds kind of cool, but that one is more to the chord. Now listen to this one. That one's not in the chord. That one was. That one's in that chord too. So being able to see the arpeggios is really important. So you guys give it a shot. Play through that whole, any notes of the scale that you want. Use your ear. That note you play on that chord change, your ear should tell you if that's in that chord or not right away. You can tell if there's tension there, you can tell if there's fits right in, like it, you know, it's part of the chord. Okay, another thing we could do is look at the minor pentatonic for D. We'll start in that area we're already in. So that's going to be 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 6, 8, 5, 8. We could look at it down here. Now this one here was the fourth position of our minor pentatonic positions. So this would be the third. The one that's got those 3 in a row. got all the pentatonic positions. Let's look at those real quick. So we got this first one, 5/8, 5/8. That's kind of our, I'm calling it first, it's really the fourth, but this is our area we're working out of, so that's kind of like our number one position for this context. Now let's look at this one again. Okay, and then let's look at what would be the second position. 3, 1, 3, 0, 3, 0, 3, 0, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3. Okay, then we're going to look at the fifth position. It's going to be on the 8th fret. 8, 10, 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 8, 10, 8, 10. And that's the beauty of the pentatonic, is you can roll that over either chord and use your ear a little bit. Everything's going to sound great. Then there's other steps to take to get further into it and get more into extra chord changes in this mode, and we'll look at those later. Arpeggios, things like that will be coming up. Here's our first position of minor pentatonic for D, 10th fret. So how about you guys take a little gander on that? You got 5 different pentatonic positions to try. Go for it. Now let's look at that scale, the Aeolian mode. Okay, we're going to look at these arpeggios now. So we got the D minor 7 arpeggio. And then we have the G minor 7 arpeggio. Okay, so we got those 2 different arpeggios. Like I said, if we want to look at the G minor arpeggio up in here, 5, 8 on the D, and then we got 7, and 6, 8, 6. So you could hit the 10 if you want. So instead of having to jump back all the time, it's good to be able to see both arpeggios within the same area. Say if we were down here, we're looking at the G minor 7 arpeggio. We could flip our D minor 7 around and see it like this: 5, 3, 2, 5, 3, 6, 5. That way they'd both be in that same area there. Now up here, we could do the 10th fret. We got our D minor 7, we got our G minor 7 right there next to it. So obviously you see these enough and you're going to remember them. You're going to be able to do them in whatever chord, whatever key, whatever place. So I want to do one more thing with this. I want to add 2 chords to our progression. We're going to do the D minor 7, the G minor 7, and then we're going to do B flat major 7, which is 6 here, skip the A, 7, 7, 6, mute the bottom E as well. B flat major 7 to A dominant 7, 5, 7, 5, 6, 5, 5. And we have different arpeggios for those. So we got B flat major 7 arpeggio, 6 on the big one, and then 5, 8, and then 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 6. You could also add that one if you want. We got the A dominant 7, 5, and then 4, 7, 5, 7. I like to bring that first finger up, let the rest of it play out better. You got 7, 6, 5, 8, 5, 9. more time. A7 arpeggio. Back to the D minor. Okay, so one more time. We got D minor 7, here's its arpeggio. G minor 7, here's its arpeggio. We got B flat major 7. A dominant 7. And back to D minor. So let's get these chords going. 2, 3, 4. We're going to do 4 bars of D minor 7. G minor 7. Back to D minor 7. And then we're going to have the B flat to A chords. B flat major 7. To A7. D minor 7. And then we do those 2 chords again as we turn around. Okay, so now we got this progression going. Did you notice how that 6 didn't sound too great over that? That 5 and 8 did. So that's things your ear can tell you. That one sounded a little out of place, right? That one doesn't sound too good. So you find the little notes that sound great at the time, and the ones that don't, you learn to avoid some, and you learn to play off some. And some you will avoid until it's a moment that it is in the chord, and then you drop it down and it sounds great. So if I'm in the pentatonic there, I'm not going to hit any of those weird notes. I'll go to G. Think of the G arpeggio a little bit. That's where an arpeggio can really help you, because you're going to that different chord that's got a lot of character to it. You want to be able to bring out the chord tones of that. The rest of the time you can do your blues kind of stuff, flat fifth. But when you get to that next chord, see, that wasn't in the pentatonic, but it's in the G minor 7 arpeggio, so that's going to use. There's just playing off the G within that same pentatonic for D. You could stay in pentatonic. Not even worry about the changes. So that one was in the arpeggio, then this one was in the other one's arpeggio. So sometimes it's the note right next to you you switch to. Sounds great, not a lot of movement needed. Now when it gets into that A7, you actually bring in a different note than the scale normally has. So remember how the scale had 5, 6, 8, and then to the 5? Well, we have a 4 in here now all of a sudden. That's a modulation. That goes into the harmonic minor mode for a quick second there. Our scale notes, we're using these notes, they start including that as part of that arpeggio. So that's a cool little thing. You do that little slidey thing into there. Minor 3 to major 3 thing happening. 3, 4. You can do minor pentatonic. You can do the whole scale of the Aeolian mode. You can be thinking of arpeggios. You could still be in the minor pentatonic for D right now, but just kind of think of the G a little bit more right there. And on these changes, you can go to the arpeggios, but you can also just stick into the blues scale. Turn around. One more time through. There's a couple different B flat major 7 A7. Alright, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Like and subscribe if you dig it. Damon Wood. We'll catch you with more. Let me know in the comments if there's any questions you have, anything I skipped or didn't fully explain. And let me know if there's any requests you have for other lessons. And thanks a lot. Take care.